One of the first toys a child would play with likely was a train. Fathers joined in the fun and began operating their own train sets. Magazines soon emerged showing enthusiasts how to build prototype track plans, how to model full-size engines as accurate reproductions, how to reduce complex freight yards into realistic miniatures. The ever-growing size of layouts led to the formation of model railroad clubs. Members would collaborate to build framework, lay track, create scenery, and add realistic details. Our video will explore this hobby with a visit to the Elmhurst Model Railroad Club just west of Chicago.
The Elmhurst Model Railroad Club was founded in 1969. Original location was actually across the railroad tracks from where we are today. We have 3 operating layouts. One is HO scale, which is the most common scale in the hobby right now. The main layout here, the HO scale layout, is roughly 90 by 23 feet. We have approximately 9 scale miles of track.
Model railroading is a hobby that attracts people because there's so many different things that you can do. What attracted me to the model railroad hobby is that I can work on trains, I can work on artistic parts of it, I can weather engines, I can work on the electrical, I can install lighting in buildings, I could do scenery. There's a lot of different ways that you can express yourself. Part of that slate quarry is an engine house where they repair and maintain the engine that shuffles around the cars. So what I've done here is I've created the slate quarry engine house. In the workshop, you can see light flashing in there while there's a couple of people in there that are welding, and that's what this is supposed to simulate. And then in the engine house itself, we have the engine in there, and we've got a lot of miscellaneous machinery, shelving, fire extinguishers, drill presses, things like that, all go inside there. They're all part of the hidden gems that we have throughout the layout to kind of show what real life is like. In model railroading, we strive to create a real life scene. So we can create a town like Shelbina here that is where people live and work and play, and the railroad happens to be something that goes through the town while they're there. We've got some houses here, we've got some apartment buildings, we've got a street sweeper who's keeping the streets clean right now, and then we've got an industrial destination as well. We've got a building called Malik Mills, and then this building also becomes the destination for the railroad. The mills bring in flour or wheat and turn it into flour and then send it out, and then the Shelbina grain elevator takes grain from the fields and delivers it into the cars, and that becomes a shipping point where we ship those cars out to off the railroad. The people who live here also use this area as a destination point, or they embark to the rest of the world. So we've got a train station here at Shelbina, and we've got taxi cabs that pick up people and take them home wherever they want to go. We've got a Greyhound bus to do the same thing. And then moving farther along here, then we've got a junkyard, which is, the nastier side of life, but it's part of life. And in fact, we've actually got a dog here, and we joke to the visitors, that's the junkyard dog that everybody talks about is right there.
Detailed scenery is an important component in the creation of a believable world of imagination. entry areas have such details as a barn roof being repaired. Even an imaginary world has people that need to recreate. Night scenes are realistically portrayed. Interiors are also detailed. The realistic operation of the trains themselves is a major element of model railroading. Just as in real railroads, there are systems in place to maintain good order. An example is moving a train from a yard to the main line. This requires a uniform signaling system. The tracks are divided into a series of blocks which can only contain one train. When a train wants to enter the main line, a red signal indicates that that block is closed, and the approaching train must stop. The train leaving the yard is given a green signal. After the leaving train clears the block, the waiting train is given a green signal and can now proceed down the main line. The club layout follows the same rules.
I work for the Real Railroad, where I'm a track inspector, and I inspect the railroad tracks on a daily basis and perform maintenance on them. And I'm also a member of the Model Railroad Club here, and down here I do work on our track work, where I maintain it and install new when needed. When we operate, which we do, we have a monthly operating session, but we do run trains 6 nights a week. When we do the operations, we're spotting cars at the various industries using the turnouts and the crossovers. We have a dispatcher and stuff that controls the train movements. We issue track warrants via radio for everybody to use. Everything has to come together so that we don't have any accidents or collisions. How we control the turnouts on the layout is through these individual control panels for each area. 8 switches in here that are controlled via these toggles. All of our turnouts are controlled locally on individual panels. This one panel here in particular just controls CP Nelson, and all of our switches that are on the main line that have to be lined back to the main line have these snap-up covers. They go from either main 1 to main 2, or from main 2 to main 1, or from our main setup yard out onto the main.
In the early days of railroading, trains were visible from a control tower and switched manually with large levers. As track layouts became more complex and busier, a computer control center was needed. The Elmhurst Club N-scale layout uses such a system. Trains are routed using touchscreens and a computer system using smart home technology.
Here in the Elmhurst Model Railroad Club N-scale layout, we've been working on this layout for roughly 10 years now. And we're probably 70% complete. The engines have a computer chip put in them It's got a set address, and you control that by programming the address on your throttle. You program on this touch panel what your engine address is, which gives you sole control of that engine. It's all controlled by radio frequency. If you set up your train on track 8 and you want to go out on the main line of track 1, you hit that, it sets the switches to run out on the main line. You go from track 2, let's say, to track 1, you see the lights turn to green, you now have a path to go from track 2 to track 1. And we're set to go.
Club members gather once a month for a group operating session.
Anybody else have any questions? Hopefully I answered everything with on the warrants and stuff like that in the regular thing. I mean, I'm not expecting this to be
The
perfect.
club's HO layout is 90 feet wide and requires careful coordination to ensure smooth running. Ashley is part of the team that makes certain the trains operate smoothly.
What this program does is I have to build each individual train in the system, and then as the night progresses, I have to move them to show that they've done their work at their locations. I have to go through and move the cars, move the trains, and then if anybody had any issues or like we couldn't find a car, I have to note that, and I have to go in and edit its position in the program so that it shows where it's actually at.
She also communicates her plans with the dispatcher.
Come out and I want to land up here because I'm going to do a pickup and a set out up here.
If you at Center City, stand by. I'll get you over here. Let me write it for Warren. Over.
Sharon uses a large board with a schematic of the routes to coordinate train movements. The session begins with putting the trains together. This is done in the same manner as actual railroads.
Darrell. Checkbox 12, proceed Darrell to Nelson on main 2. Checkbox 13, take yard lead at Nelson.
Xbox 2, proceed from CP Riverview to CP East Capitol on the main.
Engineers are in constant communication with the dispatcher.
CP B12, main 1, over.
All right, 267, standing by.
Once the trains are assembled, they begin their route. The Shelbina cars, now filled with grain, begin their deliveries. A big reason people are attracted to the hobby is the social aspect of working as a team by performing their individual tasks to complete the group project. The layout has a large passenger train and an urban depot. As passengers await their train, a freight approaches. It will need to stop until the passenger train clears the block. With the train now in the station, the freight gets the green light to proceed. As the session ends, the now empty grain cars return to be reloaded. Other trains continue through the night. Around every corner is a new scene to view. The members spend countless hours tending to the layout, adding more details, repairing as needed, and expanding locations, like this new diesel engine maintenance shop.
The club averages around 150 members, mostly from the Chicago area, but we have had members from as far away as Washington, D.C. We had a member who lived there, and a member who actually lived in Florida.
The club's open houses invite guests to experience the layout and chat with members.
We've had visitors from pretty much every state in the Union. From England, people have stopped in. Germany, we've had people stop in.
I came here on my own 2 years ago to see the diesel locomotives around Chicago. So to take the metro trains out to some of the stations and see the trains. And while I was here, I heard about the Elmhurst Model Railroad Club, really good quality. And we have very few places like this in the UK. It's about building something, building a world that you control and plan and think about, that you can change and modify about it and what you're going to do in that world, and then go ahead and do it. I think that's a very nice hobby.
I brought these boys here tonight to see the amazing artwork and expertise of the Elmhurst train model, just to make sure that they understand or are able to see all the artistic work that these amazing developers bring to the model train area that we have here in Elmhurst.
My son and I would like to get a layout going. The Indiana Harbor Belt, close to Brookfield and LaGrange, is what we would like to model it after. What I like about the Elmhurst Railroad Club is that it's large, it's easily accessible, and we enjoy coming down here and watching the trains run, and they always have trains running, and it's a good time.
The Elmhurst Model Railroad Club hosts swap meets from time to time. There are approximately 500,000 model railroaders in the United States and Canada. They cover every age group. Many have been in the hobby for generations. Others are just getting started.
My grandmother and my father were very focused in the early 50s to tell me to pay attention, because I was going to see things then that I wouldn't be able to see a few years later. So when they'd see a steam engine, they would take their time and say, look, watch that, because you're not going to see that a couple of years from now. And by the late 50s, steam had disappeared from railroads. My start was watching my dad's Lionel trains go around on the basement floor. That was a time that we would get to bond. And even now, if I smell the freshly cut plywood, it brings back this rush of memories of a Friday night when my dad had off, and we'd go downstairs and work on the train layout a little bit.
The interest in model railroading has recently experienced significant growth.
I'm selling a whole bunch of microtrains cars and just stuff from my collection.
One primary reason is the growing popularity of the hobby among millennials and Gen Z. Many find computer games too sterile. They are rediscovering the joy of working with their hands, learning how to solder, working with wood and plaster, creating from scratch an imaginary world, and making new friends working together toward a common goal. Model railroading is truly an all-encompassing hobby.
Some of the stuff here I'm selling, these are 1952 wood kits. The gray ones here. These are Tyco Mantua cars. And these are brass locomotives here from roughly around the 60s. Model trains is definitely a skill maker, because this stuff involves a lot of like soldering, like building like the bench work for the layout, and like working with plaster. So it's definitely a good hobby to learn a lot of skills in, and like it's definitely a lot more worth it than video games.
3 for $25. Yeah. And what I like about the hobby is the actual like diorama and scenery part of it. Because I'm able to like kind of recreate what I see in real life. And it's a way that I can sort of creatively spend my afternoons instead of just like going on my phone or playing. And it's a great community. I've already made a whole bunch of friends. There's always things to do, to go all over. So I've been doing this for the past 4 years, trying to, grow what I have.
There's a lot more people who are younger into this hobby than you think. I mean, there's 2 right over here. On Sundays at Elmhurst, there's probably, I'd say half the people I'm 20. Half the people are younger than me or around my age. And that's, I don't know, we probably get 10 to 20 people on a Sunday for just club members who show up. Then we also have visitors who show up, and there's a lot of kids.
Kind of say I recruited you to the Elmhurst Meadow Road.
Yeah, you kind of
Yep. just bring in friends to the hobby that seem to enjoy it.
Yeah.
They always seem to enjoy it, always have a good time.
As one of the largest model railroads in the Midwest, the Elmhurst Club offers friendly members, highly detailed scenery, and authentic prototype operation. If you simply enjoy watching trains operate, or maybe want to become more involved in the hobby, the Elmhurst Model Railroad Club is well worth a visit.